be easiest. The information you have underlying research investigate is what we created when we stopped, when we were, is that someone?
There's an echo. There we go. The information in the first line is what we were discussing when we adjourned the last time. Is everyone still comfortable with that wording? Research and investigate, communicate, advocate, and advise in matters impacting arts and culture in support of the purpose set forth in Article 1, including but not limited to. Okay, very good. Okay. So then going on to item B. Here's my question. Promote equity in access to arts and culture in the region. I thought that this was repetitive because we already say that we're referring back to the purpose, and the purpose talks about equity. So why are we repeating it again as its own standalone item? Just a question.
I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm. Promote equity and access to arts and culture in the region. And I just says, why is this already called out in the purpose section B? So I was thinking of deleting it. I said, again, redundant. So maybe we could strike that. Okay. Moving on to item number C, letter C. Conduct workshops for county personnel and community groups to explore specific subject areas and improve relationships. I put vague. I don't know, workshops about what and improve relationships with whom. What is that about? I'm assuming that the workshops might pertain to informing, learning, understanding an issue. But it says for county personnel and community groups. It sounded like it was referring to some specific action, but it was just so vague. I didn't know if it was helpful worded this way. And then even more vague, improve relationships. And I just said, with whom?
Yeah, this is just all over the map.
Well, it's not, it's just kind of language that doesn't seem to have any impact. I would definitely like every one of these to be so clear that it's informative and it's helpful and specific and meets a clear need, but it seems like filler language.
It's appropriate for organization, for the commission, right? That's the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is in the ordinance, so all this is pulled directly from the ordinance, but I agree with you. I mean,
where is it in the ordinance?
Well, I'm looking at the list from the ordinance. It's under duties and responsibilities, page 2. This is it.
Conduct workshops.
So all of that is from our ordinance.
All of this is lifted verbatim.
That's what we did. We lifted it because see, this is how duties and responsibilities look. There was nothing there.
Prior. Got it.
The draft bylaws had nothing. So we pulled it over.
So let me ask a question. What is the value of Article 3 if it's lifted right from the ordinance verbatim, even though I don't agree that it's worded well in the ordinance either, but our bylaws don't need to duplicate that if it's already in the ordinance, correct? If the language is already called out in the ordinance, do we need to
Just
state it again and bring it forward just the way it is?
One option would be to say the duties are as described in section blank of the county code, and just have that be a one sentence item
and be done with it.
That's one way of doing it. And another way of doing it would be to look at whether the ordinance needs to be amended in the description of the duties.
Anyway, so that said, what takes priority? Amending the ordinance so at least when we're referring back to it, it's powerful and helpful, or just having this kind of overarching language that refers back to this and then we do this later? Because I keep hearing someone on the commission saying, let's hurry up with this so we can function. and I hate to keep kicking us down the road, but we don't have this. This has to absolutely go back, well, both of them have to go back to the board for approval. It doesn't matter which, and they can go together.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you guys think? Having some overarching language that refers back to this, knowing that we need to work on this later?
Yes, so that could be a thing where we just end it, the commission shall have the power and duty to blah, 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 blah.
Right,
um,
as referenced and.
As a reference in the ordinance and
Yeah,
even in the
yeah,
article,
referencing section 84-808.
and then stop it there.
Yeah.
And then you guys can then look at the ordinance and make the edits accordingly.
I would-
now.
What do you guys think?
That's the cleanup. I was
Okay.
so uncomfortable with these duties. This was
Yeah.
such trouble.
Yeah.
Because I think of constituents as my number one group to impact,
Right.
not county staff. So
Right,
that was immediately challenging for me. But I agree with this, of course. So if we just say, refer to
mhm,
the
Yeah.
ordinance
And then we'll
section
get to this
84-808,
later.
and then clean, but perhaps if we can wrap this bylaws up, then we can come back in
That's what I think.
August and appoint a committee to work on this.
I love that idea. What do you think?
I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we don't have to get mired in this because this will take
So then we
forever.
will redline all of the additions. So maybe we should go back to the original
Yeah,
duties and responsibilities and just make sure we're comfortable with this.
with that,
That's
the way
vibe
it's,
of
yeah,
the draft.
and we don't include that research and investigate because
Which
that's new.
Yeah.
Shall have the duty, power and duty to,
Let me find
the-
there's
whatever it
set
was,
wording for
Yes,
this, where
it
we
is.
can just reference the ordinance.
and reference the ordinance. Is that okay?
So
It could just be
power
the
and
powers.
duty,
As,
yes.
As set forth in.
As
That
section
need everything
law.
else.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I did kind of have a question about whether or not this thing fits here. When we had the presentation from Scott and Steve,
Mhm.
who were incredibly helpful resources, they were basically asking that someone from this commission advise them. And I thought we could formalize that in the bylaws. Do you know what I'm talking about? I
Uh-huh.
think you guys were
You mean-
there.
Are you talking about the public art?
Are you talking about refer to?
Yes, the yes.
Assist county staff?
They were county staff people who right now have been in charge of
Mhm.
basically,
Yeah, we know.
okay.
That would
Yeah.
go in our public art policy, probably, not in these bylaws, right?
Well, if you want to really codify it, you put it in the bylaws. I want to really codify it, so. That's, I don't know.
So you wanted
So
something,
the policy that policy that the policy committee was looking at
Yeah.
the other week, that policy and the bylaws are about the equal weight
Okay,
enabling. Because both of them are items passed by the board of
okay.
passed or approved by the board of supervisors, so they're kind of the same level.
So did it get into the policy, which,
Still working.
okay,
Is that the first meeting?
you're on now,
Yeah, we both are.
okay. How do I let you know besides right now?
Send
But I think it's extremely
it to
important.
Zane.
There's Zanger coming to you.
That's right,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what
I
Felicia
I
did. She
think
had
I
some
already
ideas as
did,
well.
actually, I already did send it to you.
And then that
you
policy would
did.
come before the full commission prior to approval,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
so I
because
have your email.
I sent it to you,
Yes.
like
Yes, I have
almost
your
right
email,
after that other meeting and before yours.
and I'm consolidating everybody's
Okay.
recommendations right now to send out as a draft before our next meeting, so that everybody has
Okay.
something to review.
So the next August, you're talking the August meeting? I'm not gonna be able to
No,
be
the
there.
public art policy meeting, subcommittee meeting, the next one's next Friday.
Okay,
Yeah.
super.
okay?
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to take
Mhm.
that off.
So it sounds like we have addressed Article 3,
Well,
right?
the original had this, under Article 1, in the first paragraph, it said the commission delegates its authority to apply for and administer grants to commissions.
Mhm.
What did we do with that section?
It's in here somewhere.
Oh, the commission.
It's under G,
It's under G.
So
okay,
we can just add it to the ordinance.
but are we comfortable with it? Is it ready to go?
It's still worded kind of clumsily to me. it says the commission may delegate its authority to apply for and administer grants to commission staff.
All right.
And is it shall?
Well, here it just says the commission delegates its authority. So we weren't applying, we weren't participating at all.
Yeah.
It was all going to
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah,
Right.
and
It
now
was
we
in
may,
May.
and then I was
So-
thinking, should it be shall, that it seems that as a body, none of us intend to ever write grants, that it shall always be delegated.
Yes.
It seems that way to me, and if the ordinance is saying,
Well, then leave it original. The commission delegates its authority
then believe it,
as is.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'll take this language and put into the ordinance.
Okay.
awesome.
And then the next line was, however, the commission retains the authority to advise staff on grant applications and administration.
That was the one I didn't understand.
If I recall right, there was some debate, about that language, but the delegating of this commission really wanted to be able
Approve.
to weigh in on them.
Like review the grant application, is that the point?
Or
of it?
advise maybe
Or-
perhaps where the money would be going or what
Oh, yeah.
programs would be.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I agree completely. So we have to build a model so the commission is involved in the structure. of the grant.
Right. I would not want you to apply to anything without first telling us what you found something, this might solve this problem, and getting our approval. Is that what this implies, that that will always happen in every case, that you would not ever, take it upon yourself to apply to something without us knowing?
That I don't know that would necessarily do that, because the county might, the board might decide they want to apply for something,
Sure.
even if it hasn't gone through here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And there might be some things that, there's not time to get the commission, all
Approval.
together before.
Right.
But I think the general intent of this is, is that,
Well,
it
no.
would be updated and
Mhm.
briefed and
Brief,
have
that's
the
the
op-
word
and
I'm
have the
looking for.
opportunity to weigh in.
It would probably fall under my staff report.
I
when
think
do st-
That's,
Yeah.
that there would never be like, hey, guess what? We did such and such, and it's without some briefing, and it's not like we have to say whether you can or not, but some kind of
That you would
briefing.
be aware, yes.
Right.
So
Why don't we say it's the preference of the commission to be advised in advance of all grant applications?
No, he's saying we may not be able to be advised in advance.
But you're saying it's the preference.
It's
which
the
is-
preference.
Oh, it's a
which-
When
preference.
possible.
Oh, when possible.
In other words, we're saying we
Right.
don't want to be absent of arts grants, period.
Yeah,
We don't want to be absent of that process.
and with preference.
And so our preference is to be advised,
We say that?
You can say that.
have input and, into any appropriate grant applications.
Something like that?
Yeah, something in general.
So does that include, we're talking about grant applications by the county to somewhere else?
Correct.
We're not talking about here.
No, we're not talking about our own.
Applications
Mm-mm.
by people to a supervisor for a
Mm-mm.
grant.
No, we're not talking about that.
So totally separate.
When the county is an applicant for the state, federal.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we're talking
Yeah.
Thank
And then Kay seems like it was getting ready to say something else and it stopped, or is that truly advice?
You
Is that-
guys, you guys had a thought, but then got distracted by something.
Wait,
Oh, was
else.
it?
So I just made a
Oh,
marker,
That's right.
a placeholder if I didn't know where you guys were going. with it.
okay, so GH, so everything from H on is brand new.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay,
We recommend programs, funding and services for local artists. Well, that's part of what we're just talking about right now.
so I was okay with H, I, and J. It's just that K seems to be redundant too, because we already said under A. Maybe the word policy never comes up until now. It's possible.
I think it didn't, that's why.
It does not
was-
come up
yeah.
until now. So again, going back to the ordinance. Equity and access. This policy is really important. And I don't know if we're accepting all of this and
This extra.
HIJ and this empty thought on advising on policy. Okay, so all we need to do is fix K.
Yes.
So I just said advice on policy related to the growth and development of arts and culture, just in general. Something like that. Growth and development of arts and culture in the region or reps in the county.
Well, and I was also thinking, J, coordinate with county departments regarding funding, policies, and other resources for, I wondered if we added policies there to
Just,
your comment of we'd like to help other departments
and just wrap it up in
and
there.
wrap it up in that. But does it meet what you were talking about?
Yeah,
Policies, arts, and
yeah, I
culture?
was just trying to make it
Okay,
finish out the thought, but,
Right.
and other resources for arts and culture.
but
I
is it
think,
only through county departments we're gonna do that? Does that limit us in J?
well, let's think about policies in general, so.
Well, it's gotta be,
If you had
It's
a
government.
policy that we wanted to support livable wage for individual artists who live and work in the county. There may be no effort on any department's part on that, but that's something that we would like to get behind and
Mhm.
advocate for legislation, and I mean, so we want to always be able to construct, develop policies and support them, regardless of whether it comes
well,
through a county department or not,
should it just be the county, coordinate with the county regarding funding
funding policies.
and take out the word departments?
Yeah,
See, I think departments narrows it.
yeah. So if we kind of
And the
coordinate
county
with,
applied, that they're all part of the county, all the.
and it implies that we aren't renegade, we're not trying to do things separate from the county.
We're coordinating
Right.
to do what though? We're coordinating for arts and culture?
Coordinate with the county regarding increased funding, policies and other resources
for arts and
for,
culture?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's good. I think that
What do you
works.
think, Jay?
Take
Okay.
out K.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Okay, so my thought is though, what if we wanted to take, what if we want to take H, I, and J and
Mhm.
just move it into this?
Well, we do eventually, but
You know, move it back to the ordinance. What if we want
Yeah,
to just?
we do.
That's, and
eventually.
that's a plan. So
Mhm.
whatever you guys are making adjustments here, Article 3 will be basically in one sentence that just says refer to the ordinance. And in every edit you've made here, I'm putting over to the ordinance.
To
for
be
whatever-
approved.
Including H, I, and J.
Yes,
So they could come over. to
yes.
this.
Yeah.
So the wording on research, investigate, communicate, that's gonna get moved over. Crossing
HIJ.
off, promote equity, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because
That's-
it's redundant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
That
so
kind of
so we will have a sentence and leave H, I, and J for the draft bylaws to go to the commission. Is that accurate? Or does it get pulled out? now?
Everything's gonna get pulled out, and then
Okay.
there will be an ordinance.
Okay,
Change.
revision, okay,
Yes.
okay. Well, then, looks like 3 works.
I think 3 works.
Mhm.
Okay,
I like it.
okay.
There's a lot in there.
There is a lot in there, and we're gonna continue to fine tune it until it's perfect, right? Can we go into Article 4?
Right.
Officers, I know you have to go.
Yeah.
So the only, Section A seemed pretty straightforward to me. Then section, what?
That's good.
Everything, okay, section B, the only question I had was, what does it mean if no secretary is available? What does that mean?
So if I wasn't here to do it for you, for example.
We're not gonna have a meeting eventually.
You're the official county liaison to this
Yes.
commission.
But
So
you're,
that's your
are
job.
you're not the secretary?
I play the role of secretary,
do.
right? So I prepare the agendas.
Okay.
You
in
are,
conjunction with
okay.
the chairs, I do the
Okay.
minutes, I do the postings.
Yeah.
Say the county liaison shall serve as the secretary.
I did not know that, and you're the treasurer too, because we don't have a treasurer, because we don't have a budget, right?
Yes.
So you're the administrator, so these bylaws kind of pretend to be like for a nonprofit, which we're
Right.
not.
Yeah.
So where does it say that you're the secretary?
In the ordinance, I believe it says that you have a staff liaison.
Staff assistants under the chief administrative officer shall appoint the administrative staff of the commission. So
Okay,
you're administrative staff.
can we make that connection between this kind of traditional word of secretary and you? Is there some way that we can, so everybody knows that's you?
I'm gonna refer to David on that.
Is that necessary or proper?
You could simply, one option is simply delete all the remarks about secretary.
Yes,
Just go forward the way you've been doing.
I kind of like that. I
Yeah, I
mean, since
think
we're
it's
not a
awkward to do that.
traditional
Yes.
nonprofit,
Right.
let's not use those words.
Yeah, that's agreed.
So
What are
then,
the general rules for commissions.
Yes, I'm just shaking my head, yes.
Okay.
So under the general rules of commissions, like the keeping of minutes and the producing of agendas, is that clear that that's a
that's you.
county staff task?
Isn't
Like-
it-
like,
isn't-
do any other commissions have their
Yeah,
actual
pretty much.
commission members
Everyone's-
do
you
that?
follow the same model.
Yeah, pretty much every commission.
And are you
or
referring-
advisory body, I
You
should
are
say.
referred to as administrative staff or liaison?
It's pretty much both.
Administrative.
Either.
Okay.
Yeah,
either.
either way.
Let's not confuse things with this
Okay.
traditional
Yeah.
secretary
So let's
language.
strike that.
Okay.
I'm wondering though, co-officers may be elected if deemed necessary. What's the point of that?
So some,
Like if one person wants to share the duty.
yeah, so
two-
some commissions have co-chairs instead of a chairperson and a vice chair.
Oh, I
Got
see.
it. Okay.
Co-chairs.
Then the chairperson provides general supervisory guidance to the commission. I just wanted to know, what is supervisory? What does that mean? Like, the chair,
Leadership,
yes, that is more like, yeah, it's not
Like
supervision.
managing
either.
the,
Supervision
managing the meeting.
Yeah,
That's
managing
right.
meetings.
General-
advising.
Yeah, I think we should take out the word supervisor.
It sounds too much like they're the boss of me. And so,
It also
Why don't we
sounds
say-
like it would be if these were paid positions.
It does.
And they're not.
then they're
So-
not, provides,
So general guidance.
maybe,
yeah,
maybe
but
that's
not
enough.
supervisory, yeah,
General guidance, okay.
Or
And
meeting supervision. I
and
don't
presides
know.
over the meetings.
It's about the meeting.
It's really about the meeting, right?
Well,
That's,
who sets, can any commission member put something on the agenda?
They
I'm
would have
sorry,
to go
what
through
did you
the,
say?
I said, can
Do the
any
chair.
commission member put something on the agenda?
I thought
they would
that
have to
was
go to the
yes.
chair and staff, yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes.
that was
So if
over,
it were sent
yes.
to staff.
Yes.
it can make it on the agenda. So it's,
Yeah.
the chair doesn't set the agenda.
Well, what happens is I produce a draft of agenda, I run it by David, and then I send it to the chair of
Okay.
either the subcommittee or the general
I think you
commission.
send it to me and the vice chair, don't
Yes.
you, usually?
Yes,
And
and then so I send it to both of you guys, and then I say, is this fine? Are there any
Yeah.
additions, issues?
So
So
a chair or a vice chair have the ability to remove something from the agenda?
if they so wish,
Yeah.
yes, I would only
Whereas-
advise if I say legally we need to have this item for whatever reason.
Where is that authority spelled out about?
I don't think it, well, let me see.
So anything referring to the development.
Yeah,
of
can you
agenda.
run by me? Okay, because up right now I'm chair. I would never do that.
This isn't
So-
about you.
This isn't
We're
about you.
right-
I
right
get it.
bylaws.
No, I get that, guys.
Yeah.
But my brain works better if I have like a situation 5 years down where I'm
It's
gone.
it's very
Where-
common on boards that the chair sets the agenda.
No, this I know, been
So
there, done it.
that's a power that you
Okay,
have, or not you, that's a power that the chairperson has. We
Right.
should spell it out.
or do we not want the chairperson to have that?
Well,
Do
it's-
we want every member of the commission to be able to put something on the agenda?
Look at section D. That's the item. The chairperson provides general supervisory guidance to the
Yeah,
commission
we
who
get
acts
rid
and
of
presides over meetings, or we could say sets the agenda. This is the sentence to
That
add it.
sentence.
Yeah, so we have to
Or
say,
could say any commission member has the ability to place something. on the agenda.
yeah, exactly.
That's
That's what should be added.
what I vote for.
Okay.
So that should be under section D where we're referring to duties.
I have
That
worked under
means,
as a
that
chair.
would mean, I just want to find this for you. That means that 5 years down the line, there might be somebody who is not particularly liked by most of the other members of the commission,
Mhm.
who maybe wants to put something on the agenda about some other member or members of the
Sure,
commission.
sure.
Might want to put something on that is like.
That's
viewed overly
controversial.
political.
So how do you
Um,
polarize
So it's a
that?
kind of a filter to have this person here to say yay or nay.
That's
That's the kind of example I was trying to understand it better. What, okay. I have worked as a chairperson where, for a fairly decent sized nonprofit, where as the chairperson with the executive director, the chair was completely responsible for the agenda. And anything that was going to be added was run through the chair with that up or down. I really felt like that was not
It was too much power.
equitable.
Mhm,
I thought it was too much power.
mhm.
And, but because of what you just said, that happened. And luckily I could use that power. Something like that happened
Mhm.
where somebody wanted,
Cause
it would have
mischief.
put us in legal jeopardy if
Sure.
that had gone on
How
on
about,
the agenda. So I used my authority to say,
maybe something along the lines of the chairperson sets the agenda in coordination with.
Commission members.
yeah.
Either commission
that's too
members
much.
Or
or
the
what,
administrator.
what county administrator, what
No,
county
I-
staff, I
you know,
was
now that we
thinking, or
talk
under
about it,
advisement of
no,
county staff.
Now that we talk about it, I think the chair needs to approve the agenda. You know, we are political appointees. We cannot remove commission members. That's not in our authority. So if you did have someone who was, there's 5 supervisory districts, if someone got appointed whose opinions did not reflect the majority of the commission, they could put things
So
on the
another
agenda. I mean, that could be highly problematic.
Another option would be to allow X number of commissioners to put an item on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, we used to say two.
Oh. That if I wanted to put something on,
Somebody
I'd
else
have
has
to give
to,
you the.
a
Yeah.
second.
It's
kind of-
Yeah.
So either the chair or say 3 commissioners or something like that could cause an item to be placed on the agenda.
That's all it was.
That would be another, that would be a way to, like, that is another option that's available.
It makes the election of the chair more significant if they have the ability to control the agenda. And we'd have to think
Well,
through those things at election.
Yeah.
time.
Someone has to set it.
Yeah, someone's got to be in charge.
I think that was one of the reasons I brought up the supervisory thing, like what powers does the chair actually have other than presiding over the meeting? And it sounds like the setting of the meeting agenda is a pretty significant.
So then that's
Power?
the word that should be said. You're right.
So
Right.
why don't we,
Spell that out.
why don't we do under D, we've struck supervisory, guidance of the commission, comma, setting the agenda, comma, and presides over its meetings. And then we should add a line that says commission members may submit items for the agenda to the chairman. Something like that.
Yeah,
Commission members you can contact the chair and say, I'd like to have this.
yeah. And see how that goes.
Yeah, but that's the usual process. You know, you just submit your idea to the chair and it gets hopefully added to the agenda.
So
Yeah,
you-
If it's not agenda.
Would
it's
you
just regular
submit it
business.
through Zang? Or through?
Either one.
Or directly to,
I would say either
Or
one.
just CC me because
Yeah.
I help put it
And-
together anyway.
yeah, oh, right, yeah. Okay.
It would probably be good for staff to be able to, for staff meeting Zang to be able to put items on the agenda. as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Like physically put them on, yeah.
Yeah,
But to have the authority, simply have the authority.
to
put
do it
items
in
on
the first place.
Not to take them off, but like. to put
There
them-
might be something at the county level we don't know about, and you
Right.
said this
Well,
needs
then
to be on
say,
the
yeah,
agenda.
the staff, what's your term?
Administration.
Administrative and commission members, period, may add.
May add items to the agenda by contacting the chairperson.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay,
Okay,
Um,
right?
that sort of reads like any member needs to do to get an item on is to contact the chair. It doesn't,
Oh,
it doesn't give the chair any sort of.
review process.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
so let's see.
Well,
So
staff
we
is-
submit items,
Let's see.
yes, submit items.
May submit. Why don't we take
Uh,
out add and say submit
Submit items
items.
to the chairperson,
Or propose items.
propose items. to the agenda,
There you go.
to
And,
the, not contact the chairman, to the chairperson.
and have, why doesn't the chair and the administrative staff finalize the agenda?
With the agenda finalized
Yeah.
by.
And then the next sentence, the chair and the chairperson and administrative staff finalize the agenda.
And I would just say as an operating practice, I would always submit it to the county representative because she can manage if there's multiple people asking to have the same thing on the agenda, or they can consolidate it into one and then present that to the chair. Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Unstructured.
So I just want to make sure that I understand that there's a check and balance, because what in the nonprofit situation example I gave, I felt it was too much power. Because I had seen that power abused in a different nonprofit. And so I want to like have it be tempering. Is administrative staff a good tempering, do you think?
I think so.
Well, it has to be because there's also legal counsel that's involved.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
good enough.
Mhm.
Okay,
That's right. Okay.
section
Thank
E
you.
doesn't seem to be a problem, does it? E on this side of this list?
Oh, E, I didn't have any problems with E. I just wanted to know, when we say anywhere that something has to be resolved in writing or put in writing, where is this writing happening?
Oh, delegated. in
Is it
writing.
like you just write something and you email it? Is it,
So
where's this, all this writing
Writing
happening?
legally, I'll defer to David. I think my understanding in writing is now, we can now include emails.
Correct.
Emails too?
But you can't be calling me or the chairperson, that would not count, we would need it
Okay,
Yeah, you need
written
some-
down, or
Right.
you can
Yeah.
show somebody.
so if somebody
Yeah,
said,
there's-
la, 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 that's in
Yeah,
writing.
So if
Yeah.
you want to do snail mail, you
It's-
can, but you
But
can.
email counts,
sign.
Correct.
texting counts.
Does texting count? That's the question I had. I don't know
Yeah,
about
I don't know if texting, I don't know if texting counts, because they're not necessarily saved the same.
They're not
way.
retained.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, same with like, Teams chats with.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would think that means.
But we're at
Writing
a
email.
point in our evolution.
Yeah.
That when we say writing, there's an understanding that email is now writing.
It's official
Correct.
communication.
It's
Yes.
official communication. Okay, and we don't need to say that. Okay, I'm okay with that, if
Yes.
that's where we are in our evolution.
So again, example, I can't be at the general meeting. So I'm going to send an email, which I was going to do anyway, and CC you to Bob
Mhm.
that assigns him to chair the meeting, review the
Mhm.
agenda, blah, 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 blah.
And that's official.
And that makes it official in
Yes.
writing. That's good enough.
That's good
If you just
enough.
Notify of the absence, then that just happens.
It
based on
also
bylaws.
happens
Right.
automatically.
Yeah, it happens automatically. You
Oh, it
wouldn't,
does.
you wouldn't have to assign it if the bylaws say in
Right, you
your
got a
absence.
vice chair.
You're the
Yeah,
vice chair.
so,
So their job is.
yeah, so
they're
if you're not
there to do it.
available, if you can't review the agenda, the vice chair would do it. Yeah.
Okay,
He's next in
Okay.
line. Okay, continue, okay, now we have a new section. If we're done with Article 4, we still have time to get through
Yeah. keep going.
Article 5 subcommittees, which I thought was fascinating.
Almost there.
Almost there. Section A, I didn't have any problems with. Section B, I didn't have any notes for that. I didn't have any notes for section C. Section D, I just had, it says, when each subcommittee shall be responsible for keeping the records and shall submit these actions, reports to the commission. I thought it would go back up to the committee, that it's a subcommittee of. Rather than, you see what I'm saying? It's implying that if I'm on a subcommittee like this subcommittee, I'm on a subcommittee? Yeah, this is,
Yeah,
we're
this
we're a
is-
subcommittee.
This is a-
What are we sub of?
The arts and culture.
Commission, I see.
We're an
So,
ad hoc or so.
Ad hoc, oh, okay. So all subcommittees are sub to the commission.
Right.
Okay, there we go.
And they're reporting out to the commission.
Okay, okay. I was thinking of if there ever a committee and it didn't had a subcommittee, you know what I mean? Yeah, but that's not the case. Okay, then, yes.
so Each subcommittee chairperson will be responsible for keeping of the records of all actions and reports.
But actually you
That
do.
sounds like
That's what it
language
is.
of,
Yeah,
right, that
yeah.
sounds like language when you're a nonprofit and not
Yeah,
this kind of language.
because
of
I
what we're
have
doing.
kept no records. No, I'm just.
I know, I mean, all the record keeping is with staff, so shouldn't we say that? Sort of like similar to.
Yeah, before,
Okay.
yeah. Each subcommittee chairperson shall be responsible for the keeping, shall coordinate with the administrator for keeping,
Administrative staff. you mean?
yeah, administrative staff for the keeping of records of all actions and reports. As you
Well,
know,
they have to
you know
report
we're not
out, they have to
doing
report out as part of the agenda for the next commission meeting. So
Mhm.
they're called upon to say, hey, give us the update.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to imply here, I think.
Yeah, well, the first part you probably do need to fix because I'm the one that keeps the minutes
Yeah,
and
right,
records. But
right.
the second piece of that is the chairperson responsibility.
Excellent.
I mean, it could default to me as staff if for some reason the chairperson isn't there, or the chairperson
Yeah.
could decide another member of the committee to report out.
but we
have no
should
preference.
be on top of
Mhm.
something and not just come and just like, oh, I'm done.
Yes.
We should have some minutes, some notes. Okay,
So each subcommittee chairperson shall coordinate with administrative staff for the keeping of,
Records
You
of
wanna
all
add it
actions.
like
yeah,
that?
let's say
reports
that,
Of the
something like
subcommittee.
that.
yeah.
And then
shall-
maybe period. The subcommittee chairperson. Shall. see these. Or report back.
I think it's just action. They're just reporting out. I don't know about actions.
You want your subcommittee chairperson or designate.
Yeah, because we already had to go to a designate.
True.
Shall report.
There you go. Or provide an update or report, whatever. That's
Mhm.
sufficient, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right, so my big one is E.
Yeah, E, I thought that
So-
was a ton of work.
Yeah, well, so when we're looking at the bylaws of the other counties, you know, most of them had an executive. committee.
Hmm.
And the executive committee was consistent of the officers
Mhm.
and the subcommittee chair people. And then
Mhm.
some of them also had, if there's a, it's just called supervisorial district that is not represented by a chair or officer,
Mhm.
then that one of those people would go to the executive committee. Now, I think it makes sense because, you know, what they were doing is alternating months. You have a full commission meeting one month and then executive the next.
Yeah, that's how
Which
most nonprofits.
it
got
seems like once we get through this startup phase here, the work is going to get done at a committee level
Mhm.
and the commission as a whole, you know, if we had to do this as a 14-person commission, we would never, you know, it would take us, took
Right.
us 2 meetings and hours to do this. So that's something I don't, you know, we could propose back to the group, the formation of an executive committee.
Okay.
That, and then we'd have to then talk about that a bunch as a
bunch,
commission, you
yeah.
know, if we wanted to, how to schedule that. We could form an executive committee here, but not speak to how those meetings would be scheduled. But that's something that I think could help us get stuff done and also, I don't know if we're coming for everybody to show up for 12 months a year.
There would be a couple of concerns that, this is not a no, but a couple pretty significant concerns that I have in mind with that. One concern would be the size of that executive committee and what that use Brown Act was. And who can talk to whom, both the run of the executive committee and and to what extent the executive committee can talk to anybody else for when the whole commission votes. So that would be one concern you might have with doing something like that. Another concern you might have with that is that would probably require some significant rewriting of the ordinance, which gives power to the commission rather than
Mhm.
the executive committee of the commission. Again, these are not,
Yeah, I got you.
these are not no's, but
How many people can meet at one time?
you cannot have a majority
Right.
meeting,
Right.
but that also means you cannot have the majority meeting serial. That is,
Yeah.
a 5-person executive committee, and then two other people are talked to by members of that committee. That gets you over in that case, that problem. And then the 5-person executive committee, you can't have 3 people talking business outside of, either at once or together outside of the committee.
But we can have a coordinating committee, which sounds to me similar to an executive committee. I mean, it says it in the current bylaws. I mean, we don't have to call it the executive committee. If the coordinating committee is comprised of the chairpersons of the subcommittee and the chairperson or vice chairperson act as the chairperson of the coordinating committee. But I guess the coordinating, I mean.
But what you're saying, it just depends on how many subcommittees we end up having, because if we have a lot of them, it starts mounting up.
Because right now, we're already at.
Well, we
If you
have
add those,
public
you're-
art and we have,
We just have
Right.
two.
We
but this
already
one is
got-
gonna go away.
This goes away.
But
Yeah.
the challenge is subcommittees are not standing committees.
Yeah.
They do the work and they,
They go away.
so,
Public art being standing.
well, that's the next question is, do you want to keep, I mean, I agree with you, public art could absolutely be a standing committee, but are we allowed to have, David, don't we meet on for a project and then terminate?
That's if you're doing an ad hoc committee, that's how this is currently set up. Both of these subcommittees are currently set up. You could do a permanent committee. If you were so, permanent subcommittee, if you were so inclined. One of the reasons some places do ad hoc subcommittees is those ad hoc subcommittees don't normally have to follow the Brown Act, but the ordinance here requires all of your subcommittees to have the ones to.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that difference may not necessarily matter as much to you all.
Oh,
Ad hoc and-
I thought of the public art one and then future ones as being standing.
Yeah.
Subcommittees, and then eventually the Arts Commission meeting is almost a reporting of
Oh,
the subcommittee meeting.
yeah.
Because you could have public art, you could have funding, you could
Yeah.
have planning, you know.
Policy.
You could have policy,
Yeah.
right? So,
So if we're not restricted to have ongoing committees, then this is very likely. If this makes sense.
Yeah.
So we could alter you could call the coordinating committee, or you could call it the executive committee, whatever name you want to call it. But it could do the function.
and it would be governed by the Brown Act, the coordinating commission. It's in the bylaws now.
But you're saying just tracking it and making sure that we don't overstep into the Brown Act was the hard part.
That could be a challenge,
That could be, because someone has to pay attention.
right, to who's talking to whom.
That's right.
And it's both within each subcommittee, and then it's, counting who's talking to whom as far as who's in each subcommittee, and then who's talking to whom as far as.
So an
Yeah,
example here.
Here,
would be
Right, so.
This
yeah.
committee already has 6 people. If they all showed up, and then we also had a coordinating committee, that's already the 6 that have discussed the
That's
item,
right.
plus
Mhm. Those
an
people.
extra person from the coordinating.
So
committee,
Bob would
that's a
be here.
majority.
But aren't these
So
Brown
we
Act,
couldn't
these are
do
Brown
that.
Act meet, we're in a
That's
public
correct.
meeting. So as
Yes.
long as we did it here, we're cool.
Yeah,
Right.
It's just if we,
But for
went
what
across the street
purpose?
and did it, it'd be a problem.
The coordinating committee's purpose is just to gather assembled information for the commission.
yeah, to be right.
So we can't do any actions on our own. We can't make votes. We can't do anything. So why gather?
Because
Did you work?
Pardon?
I mean.
to
you-
consolidate information, to discuss what you wanted to talk about, to.
Sometimes there
organize.
might be crossover between subcommittees would be an example of something I can think of
Yeah.
that you may need to
I'm just-
coordinate on a presentation, maybe a line of
Maybe,
presentation.
maybe one committee's got,
Although
a
with that-
subcommittee's got a big presentation, one.
But then we'll
But
Brown
would
Act
that
it,
be,
right?
yeah, but would that be something that could be also
Chair.
could that be held by the chair or by
Chair could.
staff? Or
Yeah, this is a may, I don't, it's not a requirement
Yeah.
for every subcommittee.
I still, I mean, I don't know, I guess we'll just have to see how the group evolves.
You're just trying to be more efficient with their time.
I just think so.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm also looking at practice among the different counties. that
Yeah.
Most of them had an executive committee, because you want this broad, big commission.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's represent
Good point.
everybody all
Yes.
over the place. You know,
Right.
you look at LA County,
How do we
Santa
get
Barbara,
work
these are
done?
massive geographies
Yeah.
like ours.
Mhm.
And the executive committee, that's meeting, Brown Act reporting, letting everybody know what's going on.
And bringing it
then-
back to the larger
And
group.
then bring it back to larger groups, maybe, because I think different people's time and ability and
Mhm.
engagement, it's just. all
Well, let me
different,
ask you,
so
Jake,
we
does
can decide
E-
that- we can
does-
decide that down the road.
Does E get us there, kind of, sort of, with the understanding the Brown Act is operating underneath it? Does E word it the way it is right now? We know that the coordinating committee really is the executive committee, right?
I think we can
You
let it
just-
flow.
or do you
I think-
really
I think
wanna
we can
name
let
it?
I think we can let it flow organically and see how the commission
Okay.
develops and look at precedent
Yeah.
on other commissions.
So
Okay.
my question is, what are they really accomplishing? Is it just a prep for the next
Yes.
commission meeting? That's all, it's just prep?
Well,
That's what that one looks like to me.
So can't that just be done via emailing and this and that? I don't know why we have to gather. Unless there's real overlap of subcommittees and they need to have a meeting to discuss, hey, public arts can impact that project or this and
yeah,
that.
or.
And again, the answer, and again, the language is made.
It's, I was gonna say May. So it dangles here doing nothing until we want to activate it,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
So my
Okay.
experience with executive committees, two nonprofits who had staff. And the term executive committee was really an HR function
Hmm.
because they had paid staff. So the executive committee's role, I like that it says coordinating committee instead of executive committee. Because their role was to decide about the performance.
Oh, like
of the
performance
paid
reviews and
staff.
things like that? Oh,
Exactly. That's what their role was. Other than that,
to hire and
It was-
fire the executive.
yeah, there was no need to be. And that wasn't even every month, it was.
Like once or
can't
twice a
remember.
year,
One of them
yeah.
we met more often than the
Yeah.
other one.
I didn't
One
even
of them
think
we
about
did meet
that.
Every month, but
Yeah.
it really had to do with HR stuff, because we didn't have.
Well,
an
we don't
HR
have any
person.
of that.
And
so-
we don't have any of that,
Well-
exactly.
So this one in LA County. Executive committee shall consist of president, vice president, secretary, and 2 executive officers. Executive committee shall have the authority to act in emergencies between regular commission meetings and make recommendations to the commission. They can do anything. Theirs is mostly for emergencies. And then Santa Barbara has 4 standing committees.
What do they have?
Operations. And that is for financial process, fund development, percent for the arts ordinance, so it's mostly financial overview. They have a public art committee, a governance committee that does orientation, produces commission materials, and then the executive committee.
Is this standing committee?
Those are the 4 standing committees.
Well,
Now, I don't think we need to get into it today. I think we're
Okay.
gonna let how things unfold, but I
Okay.
think it's something for us to keep in mind, just as
let's see,
the
yeah.
director,
we're
the
new.
chairperson and others, just to look at how
Mhm.
things are flowing. And if we've got 3-hour commission meetings
Oh, yeah.
that people are coming from a 60-mile radius to
Right.
attend,
And they're doing too much
we're gonna,
work.
and our whole charge is bringing diversity and equity. We're gonna make it a situation
gonna
where
be
certain people
equitable.
can't participate.
Exactly.
So
That's
if you
correct.
had committees and then alternating monthly meetings that had a tighter agenda,
Yeah.
that might be a way to be more inclusive
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
road. So that's my thought, but I don't think we need to address it today. I think that's something.
Well,
But
then I'm
it is an
comfortable with
important,
it as is.
it is.
I am too,
Thing we need to solve.
All right, section E is good as it is.
as it is. And then
Did you have any issues with 6?
I did not, it was just a type, something needed to be capitalized. What was it? In section 5, any commissioners, it just had a lowercase c. Just needs to be a capital C, right?
In section 5.
Yes, section F under Article 6.
Any commissioner?
Just-
Capital. Well, why we can, why, oh,
Oh, yeah.
we shouldn't be
Hey.
capitalizing anyway, but that's government for you.
I didn't see anything else. Did you guys?
No, this is all standard.
Could it be that we've gotten through this document? Could it
You
be?
guys tell me yes. it is. So I will fix the language in Article 3.
Okay,
And then I guess your next report out will be at the full commission. meeting.
So I have a request. Could you
16.
remove all of the,
I sent it to
turn
you,
it
copy, yes.
way before, not like 48, 72 hours before.
Yeah.
but Way before, yeah, so we can edit, like, not change it.
Yeah.
But look for typos, like,
Yeah, well,
that should be
typos.
Today's
capitalized.
Wednesday. So I can give to you by next week,
Okay,
So
that would
that
be
And our,
Maybe a
and our
couple
commission meeting is when?
The
August
16th.
16th.
August 16th. Okay, August 16th it is.
So the only thing that's still like question mark in my brain is the excused absences part.
Yeah,
Which is also going to be, yeah, which
Oh,
also.
we had to change that in
That's
the
gonna
other thing?
require, that's gonna require an ordinance change as well.
Okay,
Okay, wonderful.
and so when we present this as a draft to the full commission, will we be looking for a vote that day, a motion to accept it?
I believe so.
Will we ready?
Yes, as long as the commission as a whole don't have major issues, which I mean.
If they're
you guys
just
are practically half the commission
typos or
anyway.
whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, typos and which we can make then. Other than that, once you guys are done with that,
Mhm,
I would start the process on my end to submit a board letter to approve it.
mhm.
With the possible exception of if you wanted the ordinance and the bylaws to go together, then I would wait until the ordinance is also done.
Oh, I see.
But we have to do the ordinance, we have to create a new subcommittee.
Yes.
Okay, so we can.
Well, no, because this
well-
subcommittee is for bylaws and for
Oh.
recommendations on the ordinance,
So
right?
we could continue to have one more meeting and revise the ordinance.
But it's
and-
gonna hold up the bylaws being approved, correct?
Does, I'm sorry.
So yes, you could do, sorry, it's like there were
Yeah,
multiple
one more
questions. So
meeting.
yes, there could be one more meeting if you wanted to set up a meeting right now to go over bylaws, and I can do some of the
mean
prep work.
ordinance.
Oh, sorry, the ordinance.
Mhm.
And then what if it happens before August 16th, then you can do an entire package to the entire commission.
Right, not
Um,
August 16th, a little bit earlier is the prep time.
Yes,
Sure, sure,
yeah,
sure.
so I think like, just like the other one, I would need it by August 10th. Any
Mm.
final things. And then the other piece of that, your question is, yes, it would hold up the bylaws, but at the same time, it would make sense as cohesive package, to do one big package of ordinance and bylaws, because you can connect why you have the changes, the ordinance, the bylaws. But I've done board letters, it can go either way.
My question for you is, based on these proposed revisions to our bylaws, could you
Yes.
coordinate the ordinance so it's reflected the same and it's something that we could simply just review and not get together and meet and discuss?
That I will have to defer to David about whether or not you need to meet
I
in this.
don't know that we can really pull it off.
I think you may need to just give me one last, I mean, you, just like the public art one, if there are any other edits, you can send it to me and I can send a draft ahead of time so that when you do meet, it could be 30 minutes or an hour potentially.
Could we meet before? No, no, we don't.
What were you thinking?
Meet immediately before the
commission.
public commission meeting.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think, I mean, we've already hashed this stuff out. I'm trying to wonder what's gonna be
Yeah.
different in the
Is-
ordinance right up.
Well,
It's just that chunk of duties, that's the one we gotta
already-
grapple with.
But we did hash all that out, those duties.
Well,
You
Yeah,
added
I
it- you
but
added
you
it
And
were
we're
right
just
there.
gonna move that over to the ordinance section, right?
There were some, you guys had been discussing
Some
changing language.
Yeah,
yes,
I
to the
think-
original.
I don't mean to rush it. I was just trying
no,
to.
I think it really needs a
I
meeting.
think it's just one meeting,
Yeah.
One more meeting.
really.
And I'll send a draft of what you
What if we
discussed
look
so
at the
far.
first week in August, because you need it by the 10th for your, what if we looked at like the 3rd or 4th, somewhere in there? Thursday or Friday?
My read is pretty clear right now, so it'll be up to you all. What day will it be?
What day?
The 3rd or 4th of August?
A Thursday or Friday?
I
The
prefer
third
not.
good for me, the fourth. I
The
do
third
not.
is
and the
great, the
fourth.
fourth is not.
The 3rd?
Okay, third's
third?
super good,
Third,
me.
morning,
third.
afternoon,
anytime.
Yeah.
Midday earlier.
10?
10
I don't
is
know what
fine.
midday is.
Yeah,
See what Jay's up for.
I have a kid who wakes me up at like 6 in the morning, so I was like, I don't know what midday is anymore.
I could
I
do
know,
any,
my midday
anytime,
is
anytime
10.
of the
What day are
Thursday.
we talking about?
The 3rd, Thursday, the 3rd.
I can do that. I can do anytime, morning or afternoon.
Okay, you want to do
Okay.
10?
10 is fine for
You
me.
like 10?
10?
Yeah.
Okay,
So we can do one more head on.
Okay.
and so we'll come ready to knock it out, guys, right?
And are we gonna meet here?
right.
Is that the purpose?
Well, now I know how to get here.
Parking's great.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a matter of where
Where
you
you
can
get
find
it,
it.
I'm happy to check with them. This is not my department, so I'm happy to check with them to see if this room is available, but if it is, then I'm happy to send it here.
10 a.m. That's great. Then we might be,
We might have an entire package,
yes.
which means. it can
That would
start
be
going
really
forward.
good. That probably would be better.
Right.
for the
Thank you all. I'm running to the freeway.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thanks, bye.
All right, so meeting
That's,
ended.
Meeting's adjourned.
future.
Cool.
So on
Meeting's
the
adjourned.
draft,
Yes.